our guest today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Assalamualaikum
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone, teachers and students and the Wall Street representatives. Thank you for being here today at this morning, a wonderful time. My name is Raidul Fitran, as the head principal in Labschool Cirendeu Senior High School. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to come to our Thursday morning session. This is our routines to have experts speak to give the materials. Before we get started, I would like to give a big appreciation to the Wall Street crew who generously help us make this seminar come true. Miss Andin, where is Miss Andin?
So far, thank you so
Miss
much
Lina.
for having us.
Okay, and of course, our speaker today, Mr. Alan Santiago. Hello, Mr. Alan Santiago.
Good morning, sir. How are you
Good
today?
morning. Fine, Alhamdulillah.
Thank
I
you,
really
sir.
appreciate it, Mr. Alan, and I hope this webinar will run smoothly and the teacher and students will learn something new today and actively participated. Okay, I think I don't want to take too much of our time. I will hand over to the moderator again. Ms. Hasti, please conduct this event. Thank you very much, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Raidil, for your welcoming speech. So now, I would like to start, and then it will be directed by our moderator, Miss Andin. So, Miss Andin, the time is yours.
All right, so thank you so much, Miss Hasti. And first of all, I would like to say thank you to my honorable principal, Mr. Raidel, and also the principal, Mr. Herman, and also our lovely host this morning, Miss Hasti. And before we start, let me introduce myself first. My name is Andine. I'm a mentor of Wall Street English Living Word. And this morning, actually, we also have our team from Wall Street. We have Miss Lina, we have Mr. Alan as the Center Experience Manager from Wall Street English Living Word. We also have Miss Chita as the Center Area Manager. And we also have Ernest as the personal consultant from Wall Street English Living Word. And before we start today, I would like to explain a little bit about Wall Street English Indonesia experience. And actually, Wall Street English Indonesia, we've been here for 13 years and we've got 7 centers. And actually, in total, we have helped 40,000 members in Indonesia. And as you can see on the slide, so this is our method actually. So this is academic supported by lifestyle applications. So for the academic itself, we have the WSE Core. This is our platform that can be accessed anytime, anywhere using the mobile app or the website. And then we also have IELTS preparation. This is for those who are interested in study overseas. And then we also have pro skills. This is for professionals who are interested in gaining confidence to speak in English. And the last one, we also have VIP. This is actually for busy people, but they still want to um, try their best to learn English. And then for lifestyle application, we have Chat Hour, Social Club, and WSE Community. And all these classes are actually our speaking classes. This is good because everyone can gain their confidence and they will feel like a part of community, and also they will meet with the people like who are like-minded. And then first thing, we guarantee that you'll be successful in English because we have our proven method. And then the second one, we have 100% online classes since April 2020. But actually, we also have the offline classes. But currently, due to following the government's regulation, our classes are still online. And we have 7 exclusive centers. We have certificate, which is recognized internationally. And our schedule is actually flexible, and we have local and native trainers. Our trainers are actually highly qualified and certified. And the last is actually we have the personalized support, because we know that every member or every student has different goals. So we try our best to help them to achieve their goals. All right, so that's that a little bit about Wall Street, and I will send the link on the chat box. This is actually our platform that we use if you want to ask any questions. So you can simply put your question there. And for the top 5 most voted questions, you will get prizes in the end. So don't forget to write your name, because if it's anonymous, then you won't get the chance to get the prizes. All right, so that's that from me. So now let's go to the main session with our honorable center experience manager from Wall Street English Living Board. So, Mr. Alan, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Andin. Hello, good morning, Lab School. Good morning, Mr. Raidal Fitran. Thank you very much for
Good morning,
opening
Mr.
our
Alan.
session this morning.
Yeah.
And good morning to Mr. Herman Soliman. Yes.
Morning.
And thank you very much, Miss Hesty, for hosting us and taking care of us in the breakout room before we got lost. That's fine.
Sorry. Yeah.
We're all
Okay.
here now. So I'm going to share today's material that I have prepared just for lab school. Okay. And it's called Level Up Easy Writing. Okay. Quickly about myself. So, well, I'll get into the introduction a little bit later. So um, this is the QR code for the chat link that Andin shared, but it might be easier actually um, if people just want to go to this website, pigeonhole.at, and then put in the passcode, which I think Andin already shared in the chat. Have you shared that already, Andin? Okay. So we'll share that. And like she mentioned, like Andin mentioned, the top 3 voted questions with names will get 3 vouchers, right? So top 3 people, which is a coffee. I don't know if that means Starbucks or not. That's up to my boss because it's not part of my budget. But you'll get a free chat session and free class with me or one of the English trainers from Wall Street English. I think it's going to be like a 45-minute session. And then the top 4 and 5 upvoted questions with names would get a free consultation as well. All right, let's move on. Okay. So this is our team today. We have me, of course, and then Miss Lena. She's the regional marketing manager. Ernest, like Andin said, the consultant, and of course, lovely Andin, who I would be lost in Wall Street without her help. So this is our agenda, right? And a quick intro about myself. And I don't think I'm a real expert, just a sort of expert, but actually I was born in California, right? My parents are from the Philippines. And so my whole life basically was educated and raised in the United States, in California. And before coming to Indonesia, I was living in New York City. Um, Funny thing was, I wasn't teaching back then. I was art director, graphic design for investment banking on Wall Street. Also, I was working as a consultant for Pfizer Pharmaceutical for their corporate communications um, when I was working there in New York City. And then before joining Wall Street English, I was a lecturer and administrator at the London School of Public Relations at Sudirman for a good 7 years. A very wonderful time there. And now I've been at Wall Street since 2017. Okay, so that's quickly about myself. If you guys have any other questions, feel free. And I think Lena put it in the chat also, the link. We're going to talk now about the why of writing essays. So this is very simple, easy material today that I've set up about writing essays. For me, that's very important as well. Okay, so I always like to go from the general and get into the more details. So first of all, let's try to understand why essays are so important. Okay, so here we have basically the journey of a student, right, from high school, which we're talking with today at lab school. And then from there, right, to go is the next step after high school, obviously, is to apply for college or university. Okay, so the requirements of writing an essay will be that you need to have good writing skills for if you're going to take the IELTS, right, or TOEFL as well. You need to draw up a personal statement if you're going to apply for universities abroad, right, in English. And then also in it's very important as well, the scholarship application, right? It's very important that you have a good essay writing skills, okay? So that's the first part, especially being a high school student, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Well, especially you should be aware in 10th grade. I guess the seniors in 12th grade are very aware of this right now. And then once you get into college, right, it changes. So now you'll be required to do academic writing. In academic writing, in writing essays, we're going to look into it a little bit, right after this slide. And then also if you take your master's after your bachelor's degree, there'll be journal writing as well, right? Which is a lot more intensive, where you would need to have references and a bibliography, but we're not going to talk about that today. Okay, quickly about academic writing. So I have a sentence here, okay? And the sentence here is, another thing to think about is the chance of crime getting worse. So that's the sample sentence, right? Okay, but this is an informal sentence, right? So how do we make it academic? Well, we need to change some of the words to more academic words, right? More formal words, okay? So if we look at this next slide, what are some synonyms for thing and think about and chance and getting? So do we have any volunteers that want to come up with the synonyms that are appropriate? I don't know how we're going to moderate who's going to speak up, but I guess any student, right, that wants to think, can you give me some ideas for what are some synonyms we could put for thing? Give me some synonyms for thing, or do I have to call out? Does anybody want to volunteer? Any students out there out of 171 participants? Anybody want to give me a synonym for thing? Okay. Okay, well, let me just move on then. So for thing, you could consider area, aspect, feature, point, right? Think about, consider, note, understand, acknowledge, chance, of course, possibility, probability, situation, and then getting or becoming. So this informal sentence will now become more formal. Another aspect to consider is the probability of crime becoming worse, right? But that's not the end of it. It continues, and it's called nominalization structure, which you will need to understand, or maybe you already do, for formal writing. And that's where a verb becomes a noun, right? And you use it. So the final formal academic sentence, another aspect of consideration is the probability of crime becoming worse. Now consider how different that is from the original sentence. another thing to think about is the chance of crime getting worse, right? So that's the academic writing. Okay. We're not going to get into the actual practice of doing academic writing today, but I just want you guys to be aware that it's a whole different language almost, right, in English for academic writing. And this is what it's necessary if you want to produce essays or reports or anything required to be submitted in college or university, depending where you go, overseas. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's the same for Indonesian universities, but of course the language would be different. Okay, and then finally, after college, right? Hopefully, when you graduate, you need to do all these necessary writing documents, right? The job application cover letter, and then once you get the job, you need to give reports and presentations required for your job, and then correspondence, business letter and emails, which have their own structures, right? Business proposals, of course, case studies, and etc. So my point is, it never stops. Okay, the importance of writing essays from applying to college, when you're in college, and then in your professional career or life after college, of course. That doesn't mention if you pursue a master's degree or a doctoral degree, PhD, right? You can never escape it. You have to produce content. And that's one of the other things I want to mention. Consuming or reading, like listening to music, is very different than producing, right? Or writing, okay? But speaking of which, let me move on to the next. And I want to share this wonderful book here, okay? It's called Rich Habits, The Daily Success Habits of Wealthy Individuals. Okay, so in this book, this author studied over 1,200 wealthy people, right? And found that they all have blank as a pastime in common, right? So maybe in the chat, can anyone please tell me what is that pastime that those 1,200 wealthy people that range from $300,000 a year to over $5 million a year? What is that pastime that they share? Can you put in the chat? And we'll see what the lab school. I'll have free as a pastime in common. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, anybody else? Let's see. Everyone in meeting. Alicia, very good. Thank you very much. Well done, guys. Reading. So why am I talking about reading? Well, it's actually very simple. For example, if you want to be a good speaker, what's one of the skills that you need to master? It's not just speaking, it's listening, right? So obviously, to be a good writer, you must be a good reader. And it's not an accident that rich people read for self-improvement, right? Whereas poor people, they just read for entertainment, okay? So basically what it's saying here is that the more knowledge you acquire, you can make a difference in your life, right? All right, so let's move on. So I think everyone knows these people here, right? So this guy over here on the left, right, very famous, from Harvard, only had one job his whole life. So I think he's number 3 in the most wealthiest. This is Oprah Winfrey. And this guy's number 1 right now, Elon Musk, right? The founder of Tesla and SpaceX and other companies, right? Like he wants to build tunnels underneath the cities of America in the world for his Hyperloop. And of course, everyone knows Bill Gates, right? Who actually warned about the pandemic back in 2015, right? Now, if you look at what's the same habit or passion that they have, I mean, these are busy people, right? They're not people who are just like have plenty of time on their hands. No, no, no. They take the time to read. Look at this guy, Bill Gates. 1 book per week. That's some heavy duty reading. That means no Instagram for Mr. Gates, right? No TikTok, no Instagram, no Facebook for him. Well, except for Mark, of course, who lives and breathes. All right. Anyway, so these are, some of the people, of which I'm not going to read all about their reading habits, but I mean, yeah, it's serious, crazy how Mr. Elon Musk builds a rocket company, SpaceX. He doesn't go to university, he doesn't go to school. But what he does is he hires the smartest people, right? And then he teaches himself or uses them to teach him about the rocket industry, right? And putting satellites into space. And his, mission is actually to put a colony on Mars. Okay, anyway. So, and then of course, this is probably one of, if anybody doesn't know, this is Warren Buffett, right? And I'm going to read this. He says, this is his number one tip for people. Read 500 pages like this every day. He's pointing to his bookcase. That's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. All you can do it, everyone can do it, but not many will, right? And so like when he started when his investing career, he would read, like it says here, 600 to 1,000 per day, that's mad, right? But that's how passionate and obsessed and motivated he was to improve himself. So we have fitness for our body, and then we have reading for our mind, right? And this is, also, here's the website here. I don't know if you guys, I guess, maybe at the end, I will share the link for this about the reading habits of ultra successful people. Oh yeah, by the way, Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, is trading in the New York Stock Exchange. One share of Berkshire Hathaway is around $250,000. I don't know what that is in rupiah, but I think it's a lot of money. That's for one share. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we're gonna go now into the practical, how to write them, right? So this is just basically based on my experience, right? Academically, right? At the London School. Because actually we had a business course, business writing course in London School of Public Relations where a whole semester, right? Was it 4 months, right? Where every student in London School needs to take the Cambridge business writing course. And then at the end of the semester, their papers are submitted to England, to the UK in Cambridge, where then it's graded and then returned with the results. So I'm just drawing it from that and from my business experience, and, of course, working here at Wall Street. So the how of writing essays. So I'm going to go through three things, three main topics. 3 is the key. And then, are we getting any questions in the Pigeonhole so far?
Yes.
Okay,
I
cool.
got some actually.
All right, we'll look at it later.
All right.
Let me know if there's anything I need to answer soon.
Okay.
The second point, connected dots. And the last one, we're going to keep that at the end. Blank are awesome. So we'll talk about the first part. So how to write an essay. It's right here. This is it. First of all, which I'm sure everyone knows, you need to start off with an introduction and statement. Okay. What is it you're trying to prove or persuade people to do, right? Or inform. And then after that, you have the first proof, proof 2, proof 3, and then that's it. Summary and conclusion. Voila, that's it. 5 paragraphs, you're done. But not really, of course, because we were missing a title. So we're going to break this down, okay? How did we go about to organize? So basically, this is an organizing element. So the first thing, right, in your introduction and statement, you will discuss very quickly what are the 3 proofs that you are trying to prove to support your argument or to persuade people to buy something, or maybe to inform people of a very important data, right, or an event and stuff like that. So, I mean, you quickly talk about each proof, and then from there, you go into the breakdown again. So with proof 1, you go into example detail 1, example detail 2, example detail 3. So that's proof 1. Repeat and rinse, right? Proof 2, and then proof 3. Okay. And of course, the summary conclusion. So if you notice, 3 is the key. Okay. And that's, for writing or speaking as well, right? So I think next week we're going to be doing public speaking, and this is going to be another common element between today's material and next week's material. So 3 is very basically, why is 3 important? Well, first of all, people won't remember more than 3 things. Do you? But that's basically, and then it's important that you repeat everything 3 times. So then people will remember what are those 3 things you're trying to prove or connect with, right? So again, 3, 3, 3. And then the next one, and then this is my favorite. Does anyone know who this is? I think it's pretty obvious.
Barney.
Barney, I think.
Mr. Purple himself. Yeah. Well, connect the dots. All right. What do I mean by connect the dots? Well, I'm not really talking about drawing Barney and putting it in your essays, of course. But what I'm talking about is this. It's very important, especially when you're writing essays, okay, is to connect them together. So there's a coherence of the logic. All right. So from the first introduction statement, you will connect it to proof 1, right? And then from proof 1, you go to proof 2, connect it again, transition. And then you need to connect all of them details together from detail 1, detail 2, detail 2 to detail 3. So this is just an example because actually in proof 1, right, you'd be connecting all those details in proof 1. And then in proof 3, you would be connecting all the details in proof 3, right? And then you connect it to the summary conclusion. And then here's an example for, let's say, an introduction statement. How do I connect that to proof 1? Maybe the last sentence in that paragraph would be, with that said, let's take a look at the first point in detail, right? So that's a transition sentence. And then let's say if we want to connect, what's this? Proof 1 to proof 2, right? Another transition sentence. Moving on to the second major point, I would like to highlight. Okay. So that's just another example of a transition sentence. And you need these kind of connectors, right? It does 2 very important things. One, it helps lead the audience or reader from one point to the next. Plus, it shares and shows them how you are organizing and explaining very clearly and logically, right, what you're trying to get across and connect with the idea, the main idea from your statement paragraph. Okay. And then from there, from the summary conclusion, you actually would connect it back to the introduction statement. So it becomes like a closed loop, right? Which is, it's a very elegant solution. So what you're trying to do is so that in the summary, like the summary is just a repeat, right? And the conclusion is the next steps. But then you try to make sure that whatever your summary and conclusion is, it is addressing the statement from the first paragraph, okay? And that's very important. So it shows that you have everything nice and wrapped up, like a nice gift or package, right? So a lot of people don't take the time to do these little things, But those simple sentences, those simple words, to connect them all together, it makes it a very elegant piece of writing, right, or communication. So here's a full, right? I hope you guys can see that. Basically, the full outline, right? And that brings us to our last point, that outlines are awesome. Now, the reason wanted to get this point across is because when I was at London School, right, there's a lot of essay tests, right? A lot of exams, right? Mostly in the midterms where people have to do writing essays. And what normally happens, what I see with a lot of students at London School back then, they would read what is the topic question, right? Or the question that they need to write an essay about. And then what do? They just start writing from the intro, just and try to make sure that they have answered everything, right, as they're writing. So it's sort of like a spontaneous writing, which is very bad, okay? Why? Because you need to organize your thoughts. And you do that with an outline, which is what you're seeing right here, okay? Now, how do we do an outline? Well, that's probably, if you can solve how to do an outline properly and elegantly, right, you have basically written your essay. But if your outline is non-existent or it's not very good, then your essay will just be like a stream of consciousness. It will just be whatever your ideas you have in your head, which haven't been organized properly. So this is how I suggest to write an outline, okay? Let me get back here. The first thing you should do is begin with proof one, right? So basically, the question, let's say your essay question, will tell you basically. So from there, you should come up with the 3 different proofs, right, that you need to support whatever your answer will be. Okay. So what I suggest doing is you focus first on proof 1, and then write down all the details, so 3 details to support proof 1. I call it proof 1 here. Other people might call it something. And then from there, you go to proof 2, and then from proof 2, you go to proof 3, right? And after that, you write the summary and conclusion. Okay. So you'd start at the introduction statement. Why? Because you need to make sure that your logic and argument is all the proof 1, proof 2, proof 3, right? And that you have all the supporting elements, right, for each proof. And then after that, you summarize all of this, which is basically a repeat. And then your conclusion based on whatever the question is, so that after that, you can write your introduction and statement. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but actually makes the most sense, because what you want to do is that you want to make sure that you're closing the circle again, like I mentioned before, right? So do not, what I'm saying here is, don't just, when you get that essay question, don't go straight in the introduction statement. Do that last, right? Make sure your conclusion and summary answer the question before you write the introduction statement. And then the introduction statement will be pretty easy, right? Because all you're doing is basically you're going to be repeating proof 1, proof 2, proof 3, right? Those main 3 ideas supporting your answer in the essay, okay? Or whatever the question is, or whatever the assignment is, okay? It doesn't have to be a midterm exam or whatever, something like that. And then finally, after you do the introduction statement, write the title, if you need a title, right? So, and then, it all works back again, because then from the title will lead to an introduction statement, and then from there, we'll go down and then it becomes a nice little, cohesive communication piece. And that's the whole point, right? Is how to communicate whatever you're trying to, you know, describe or convince or persuade or inform. Okay, so that's the outline, right? Are there any questions at this point? And then any questions I need to answer? I don't have Pigeonhole open. Maybe I should open it.
So you want me to read the questions now, or?
Is there any questions that
later.
related to the outline or anything like that that have been top voted?
Y- mm, Well, yeah, actually, about essay, a lot. We have a lot of questions actually. Probably later will be good.
Okay, okay. Yeah, sounds good. All right, so let's continue with the practice. And does anybody know who this is? Can people in the chat, can you tell me who this guy is? He's actually number 2 in the world's richest. Used to be number 1 before Ellen took over. It's not Lex Luthor. Yes, very good. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon.com, right? Did you know Amazon.com was always losing money for the first 10 years before it started making billions? All right, so key point here, why I'm talking about, why is Jeff Bezos in this essay writing workshop? Because in 2016, 2017, he banned PowerPoints in executive meetings, which is surprising. And then after Amazon did this, I think other like Twitter's, Jack Dorsey, and other, Google, right, CEOs, no more PowerPoints. So what do they use, right? Memos, essays, basically. But not just any kind of memos. If you read here, this is actually from the website from inc.com. Narrative essays, and there's the link there. And I'm going to put that in the chat in case you don't have the handout, right? So let me get that real fast, and we'll put it in the chat. So if you don't have the handout, I'm going to share the link for the PDF, and I'm going to put in the chat for everyone. So what this is basically in the chat is the link to the PDF for this article on inc.com, right? And it's talking about the power of narrative memos. Now, can someone tell me what narrative means? What is narrative? And I'll wait. What is, or you want to Google it, what is narrative? So I'll wait. Anybody, can someone tell me what a narrative means? What does narrative mean? What's a narrative memo? Paragraph, good, that's good guess. It's bigger than that, more than a paragraph, more than an essay, actually. Yes, it's a story, okay? So why are Amazon executives writing stories and telling stories to each other, right? Well, because basically they have replaced PowerPoint and bullet points, and you can read it in the article, with stories about that data, right? About their key metrics that they use to study the effectiveness or the strengths and weaknesses of Amazon, all right? So hopefully everyone got the handout, right? The PDF, okay? And what I want you to do is to break it down into an outline, right? And we're not going to go through each line, but what I'm going to do is go by group. So if so basically what I did, right? Here's the title of the article, Jeff Bezos banned PowerPoint in meetings, his replacement is brilliant. So I want you guys, and this is what we're going to spend time on now, is to read the article, okay? And then let's break it down together. Like, what is the introduction and statement? What's that key sentence, right? In the beginning of the article. What's the proof one? Okay. What are the 3 examples they use in the article for proof one? What's proof 2, right? Which is number 3 here. The 3 examples or 3 details from the article. And then lastly, the proof 3 and the 3 details. And then the last one is the summary conclusion. So I'm going to give you some time, and then at exactly 8 o'clock in 6 minutes, right? Hopefully you guys can just skim and scan and find the key. So I'll leave this here, right? So you guys can understand what you're trying to achieve. Okay. And then maybe, yeah, okay. Are there any questions? Are we good? Does everyone know what you're supposed to do? Read the article and then break it down, the outline for that article. So the idea is that once you understand how this actually works, the outline works, is that the next time you have to write an article or an essay, you could use this structure, right? This method of the outline, and then stitching it together into the actual paragraphs that you eventually have to write and submit. So here's a key thing. When I was at LSPR, when I was grading, sometimes people would run out of time, right, to finish their essays. But I told them, if you put the outline, and I see the outline of your essay, right, either at the bottom or on the back of your paper, I would actually give them credit, because actually they had the logic and the, you know, their argument or whatever they were trying to answer there, but they just ran out of time in terms of, you know, writing it in English in full paragraphs. So I gave him credit for giving me an outline which, you know, showed the structure of their communication or whatever the article or the essay that they were trying to write for their exam. Okay. So maybe it'll be faster also if you guys just want to copy and paste it somewhere on the computer. And then as we go through each one, you can just copy and paste it onto the chat if you think what the number one is, the introduction statement. And then from there, we'll go by group. And you can compare your answers to what is actually done. So 3 more minutes. This is also another good practice for IELTS writing, okay? Because what happens in IELTS writing is that you need to read an article, and then based on that, you need to answer questions or also maybe write an essay. But I think it's more from the reading part, yeah. So for the reading part, what you need to do is you need to skim and scan for the key sentences, right? The key statements. So that's what we're basically doing here also, is that you have the article and you're just skimming and scanning for what are the key sentences, right? Which support the coherence or the logic of the article. And this is actually, you know, an IELTS reading exercise, because you have to do the same thing, is that you need to read and skim and scan, because you don't spend, if you spend too much time reading the whole essay in the IELTS, you're going to be killing time and you won't have enough time to finish the IELTS exam. So what you need to learn is how to skim and scan what are the key sentences for you to answer the questions in the reading part of IELTS. So this is basically what we're doing. We're replicating that. Wow, someone gave me a full on. All right, that's cool. Yeah. All right, 2 minutes. I'll go over. So thank you for sharing. Maybe we'll just share it piece by piece, so it doesn't become, I'm not reading an entire. But it's pretty good. Thank you for doing this. Is this roughly? Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Okay, 1 more minute and then we'll start. And the reveal will begin. Excuse me. All right. Miss Hesty, I have a question.
Yes.
When the students have a class, are they allowed to drink?
Yeah.
Because I want to drink my coffee, but if the students aren't allowed to drink during class, I don't want to break the rule. Is it
Yes.
okay if I drink my coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You may,
Thank you.
sir.
Okay, 1 minute and then we'll start. So can people just give me the introduction and statement for point 1? If you want to just share that in the chat, just share that first part and let's compare. What do you think that key sentence is for the introduction and statement? Okay. If you want to share it now, that'd be great. Just the introduction and statement, not the whole thing. Don't give me the whole thing, just the introduction and statement. Just copy and paste that, if you please. All right, so let's start. So the first one, okay. Okay, so basically, if you notice, Bezos revealed that narrative structure is more effective than PowerPoint. That's it. And it's basically repeating the title, okay? So if you had something else, that's fine. But this is what I thought was the key sentence in the introduction of the article. Okay, for the second one will be for proof 1 and then the 3 details. So I'm going to do it by group, okay? Not one by one because that'll take too much time. So for this first proof, okay, it's very easy. So the article basically is a bullet point, right? And it tells you our brains are hardwired for narrative. Again, it's repeating up here, right, from the first statement. So you see there's a connection, right, between the statement and the first proof. And then these are the 3 details, okay, to support this proof, okay? Okay, so that's the first one. Here's the second one. Again, he actually writes number 2, stories are persuasive, right? Again, so you can see how they're connecting. He's connecting the logic from proof 1 to proof 2, right? And then again, now the 3 examples or 3 details are supporting his second proof. And then the third one, right? Okay. Which again, see, it links back actually to the title, bullet points from PowerPoint, okay? And then this replacement is also mentioned in here. So basically the replacement is narrative memo, right? The stories, people stories. Because Amazon is not just robots, it's actually people engaging with the company, right? With the brand. And then finally, of course, I shortened a bit. Like, I just got rid of some of the unnecessary words. So it wasn't a straight copy paste. Okay. So if you think of it, it goes back to the title, right? His replacement is brilliant, but what's the replacement? The replacements are stories, which inform, illuminate, and inspire all the things entrepreneurs try to, which is, I think, the last sentence of the whole article. Okay, so you see, right? This is it. If you just can organize, right, your essay, okay, in a very coherent fashion, make sure they're linking together, make sure they support each other, and that you use the magic number 3, right? 3 proofs, 3 details for each proof, right? And it's very solid, right? And that's it. I'm done. All right. So before we go into the pigeonhole, into the Q&As, I think, Ernest, you want to talk about IELTS?
Yes, sir.
All right,
right.
go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you,
Thank
Lab
you,
School.
sir. Hello, everyone. May I hear the student's voice here? All right. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Ernest. I'm personal consultant in Wall Street English Living World. So now I'm going to tell you about our program, at least IELTS preparation. Tapi aku mau di sini lebih santai aja kali ya, nggak tegang nih kayak Mr. Alan tadi ya. Oke. Terus Alan mungkin mau nanggepin?
Yang nggak boleh, harus pakai bahasa Inggris dong.
Biar lebih santai aja, Sir. Nih, biar
No,
paham
no, no, no.
juga
This is Wall Street English. We gotta maintain the premium brand. No, I'm just kidding.
Alright.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
No. It's okay. You campur aja
It's
gado-gado.
okay. It's okay, sir. Alright. Okay, guys. What the meaning of IELTS sih? Kalau aku boleh tahu, ada nggak yang mau jadi volunteer untuk jelasin IELTS itu apa sih? Alright, IELTS is International English Language Testing System. So IELTS used to measure English language skill in academic setting. Di sini IELTS itu intinya pada intinya fungsinya IELTS untuk mengukur kemampuan bahasa Inggris adik-adik di sini dalam sisi akademisnya. Lebih seperti itu ya. Dan IELTS itu nggak mudah nih adik-adik. Jadi benar-benar harus prepare for that score. Bisa kita tanya, kamu butuh skor berapa nih untuk IELTS? Nanti kamu setelah lulus dari sekolah, kamu akan apply sekolah atau university yang memang tujuan kamu di mana. Dan sometimes in bilingual language in university or in college needs IELTS score, right? Dan apalagi yang lebih tepatnya kayak negara-negara yang memang bahasa Inggrisnya itu adalah bahasanya itu adalah bahasa Inggris seperti UK, Ireland, Australia, Kanada, New Zealand. Lebih seperti itu. Dan untuk IELTS sendiri sudah menjadi salah satu syarat atau wajib ya yang harus disertakan. IELTS score itu wajib disertakan ketika kamu apply ke university. Jadi seperti itu. Boleh next? Oke. So apa sih yang akan kalian dapat ketika kalian join di Wall Street, join di dalam kelas IELTS preparation? Yang pertama, kalian akan dapat personalized one-on-one. Ini di sini langsung dengan our native trainer, ya. So di sini kamu akan nge-review nih apa sih yang masih kesulitan dalam IELTS, pembelajaran IELTS kamu. Kalau misalnya nanti kamu lagi mengerjakan soal-soal IELTS yang di luar Wall Street, kamu boleh tanya ke native English trainer-nya di sini. And then next, kita juga ada flexible start date. So, kalian nggak perlu tidak perlu menunggu kapan nanti orang-orangnya penuh nih dalam kelas, tapi kalian bisa langsung masuk. After you join in our program, you can join in the next week, like that. So, and then kita juga punya flexible mock test dates. So, sebelum kamu masuk ke IELTS test yang kamu tuju, kamu bisa latihan dulu nih mock testnya. Jadi kamu bisa benar-benar di sini unlimited flexible mock test. Kamu bisa latihan berkali-kali setiap hari. Jadi nanti kamu bisa membedakan atau bisa pairing nih dari yang pertama kali skor kamu sampai nanti di finalnya. Ada perubahan nggak? Ada perkembangan nggak? Gitu. And then nanti kalian akan no miss classes. So kita make sure bahwa kalian akan mengikuti 12 kali pertemuan di IELTS preparation in Wall Street. Ya, so that's why kalian akan dapat 2 cycle nih. Nah, nanti di 2 cycle itu, apabila di cycle pertama ada kelas yang missing, yang memang kalian nggak ikut, ya, karena kita paham ya kadang-kadang kan anak sekolah itu suka tiba-tiba banyak PR, banyak ulangan, lebih ke situ ya. So kita kasih cycle kedua untuk nanti di cycle pertama, apabila di cycle pertama ada kelas yang missing gitu. So make sure kamu bisa masuk ke semua kelas-kelasnya gitu. After that, nanti as a member in Wall Street untuk masuk kelas IELTS preparation, kalian akan dapat username and password untuk masuk ke digital learning platform. gitu. So di sana banyak banget latihan soal tentang IELTS dan dari masing-masing komponennya kayak listening, speaking, vocab and grammar-nya lebih tepatnya. Dan pasti kita akan memberikan tips-tips bagaimana cara mengerjakan reading dengan cepat, gitu ya. Karena di dalam sana nanti untuk IELTS sendiri, untuk story nih, kayak story-nya itu adalah story yang memang sebelumnya tuh seperti asing nih kita dengar, kok kayaknya aku nggak pernah dengar ya story kayak gini. Gitu, makanya that's why kamu harus prepare itu. Seperti itu ya. Nah, untuk kelas IELTS sendiri, kita di sini ada 12 kali pertemuan, itu di setiap Sabtu dan Minggu. Masing-masing pertemuan ini ada di 2 jam. Ya, di jam 1 sampai dengan jam 3. So, you can make sure that you are available on that day. Oke. Lanjut. Di sini kita juga ada unlimited mock test. So, tadi aku sempat bilang bahwa kamu di sini bisa latihan terus, entah nanti dari My English Lab atau digital learning platform kita, atau dari soal-soal dari English trainer-nya. Jadi kamu benar-benar bisa pairing dari awal kamu score kamu di awal sampai nanti di pertengahan sampai nanti di akhir ada nggak perkembangan untuk tes IELTS-nya. Lebih ke situ. Nah, nanti kalian juga akan mendapat IELTS Social Clubs. IELTS Social Clubs ini lebih ke conversation class, tapi bersama teman-teman IELTS juga. Jadi seperti itu. Nanti kalian ngumpul nih, nanti kita kayak event-event gini, kita bikin event, workshop, lebih ke situ. Oke. Nah, kalian nggak perlu khawatir bahwa English trainer kita ini sudah berqualified ya, dan sudah bersertifikasi. Seperti itu, ditambah materi yang kita pakai dengan untuk mengajar IELTS adalah Cambridge IELTS Materials, dan kita bisa menggaransi skor kalian untuk IELTS tesnya. Contoh, misalnya kalian ada di level 8, ya kita kan ada 20 level nih, tadi Miss Andin sudah sempat jelaskan ya, kita ada 20 level. Nah, masing-masing levelnya itu kita bisa garansi skornya. Contoh, kita ada di level 8, kita masih garansi skor IELTS itu ada di skor 5,5. Tapi kalau kalian mau aman, kalian bisa ada di level 13, 13 at least itu adalah skor 6,5. Biasanya untuk university seperti UK itu membutuhkan level minimal 6,5. Gitu, bahkan kadang-kadang ada yang 7 loh. Jadi kalian make sure kalian harus prepare about IELTS preparation. Alright. Okay, it's all about our presentation of IELTS preparation. If you guys have any question about IELTS, please let me know and I'll try to answer the questions. And I'll put my number also in the chat box. Okay, after this, Miss Andin will share for Q&A. Thank you, guys.
All right, so thank you, Ernest. All right, so all these numbers, actually you can contact us. If you want to contact Ernest personally, then you can chat her through WhatsApp. And then if you want to contact me also, you can contact me through the Living Word WhatsApp business. That's the number. Now let's open the Q&A session. I'm going to read the question from the list voted, and I will only read the questions that related to the session that had been done by Mr. Alan or something related to what Ernest has explained. Okay, so let me read the first question. It's from Alfat Akbar. You got 0 votes. And the question is how to write longer essay. Mr. Alan, I think you can answer this one.
Right. So actually, let me go back in the PowerPoint. It's actually very easy. If you want to write longer essays, just have more proofs. What do I mean by that? So if we can, let's go back here to the outline. Yeah. So if you want, basically, if you want, you can have more proofs or have more details about the proofs. So like let me go back here. Right. So in detail 1, you could have more supporting details. So you can maybe have 3 ideas to support detail 1, or you could have, more than 3 details, right? Okay. So it's very easy. Like, for example, if you want to expand this to like even like for a journal, let's say 20 pages, it's not that hard, because what you will do is that you will then break this into chapters. So chapter 1 will be your introduction statement. That could do be a whole page, and then proof 1 could be its whole page also. So you spend like a whole paragraph or 2 paragraphs just talking about what you're trying to explain for proof 1, and then these could be their own paragraphs also, right? Instead of just sentences. So this becomes detail 1 becomes a paragraph B. So you could easily expand this, and you just provide more information, of course. But the thing is, you got to make sure that you keep your outline clean, right? So that everything makes sense, that everything's supporting each other. So you're not just throwing in extra information that does not connect with proof 1 or detail 1. But the idea is that you just add more details or add more information related to each point of the outline. So that's an easy way. So it can be, like a 2-page essay or a 20-page essay. It's basically the same structure, but you just have to have a more detailed outline to support those extra pages or an extra longer essay. Okay, thank you. Din, next.
All right, and then for the next question, this is actually from Anonymous. And the question is there something that you must do when you're writing an essay? Okay, Mr. Alan.
Can you repeat that? Is there something you must do when you're writing an essay?
Yeah, that's from Anonymous.
Right, so yeah, the biggest problems or the biggest marks that people lost when doing and writing an essay was their misspelling, right? Also, not using S for plurals, simple stuff like that. So make sure that your spelling is correct. Use a dictionary like dictionary.com, which you could download on your phone. So just make sure your spelling is correct, and from there, try to work on your grammar. Make sure your grammar is correct, because if you have the wrong spelling, right? If you don't have the correct spelling for the plurals or the singular subjects or objects, that will mess up your grammar. And then if your grammar is incorrect because of your spelling, see, that will just, chain up where you're, causing many problems with your English essay, right? And that's, I think, one of the biggest people lose marks in IELTS also when they're writing their essays. They don't put S's. And you can actually, there's a big difference. Just by one wrong S will let you lose that point, and will change your score in IELTS from 6.5 to 6, just because you didn't put S in one of the sentences, in one of the words needed for the plurals. So and then from there, of course, make sure that you have a coherent structure again with the outline, that it all makes sense, right? I mean, if your essay doesn't make sense from an outline view, then you have problems, right? So that's why the outline view is basically the DNA, right? The genomic structure of your essay. This is what tells you what if it's working or not, right? If you're very clear and coherent and very logical of how you're presenting your ideas to support their essay. Okay, so let me repeat: spelling, grammar, and then how good your outline and how neat it is, and how it works from the title all the way down to the conclusion. And the conclusion basically answers the title, like we saw here, right, in this article. Okay, good. Next, then, what about the top votes? Top
You
voted
want
questions.
me to read the top voted?
Yeah, let's do those top 5.
All right. Okay, so for top 5,
Sorry
okay.
about that.
So this is actually from Berlian Purwadi.
Okay.
You've got 29 votes. And the question is, have you ever felt lost or confused when you're writing an essay? You feel like there's nothing to write about anymore. Do you know the solution?
So are we talking about an essay or a diary or a journal? So this is a different topic or a different class, which I'm not qualified to address or answer. But again, I cannot emphasize how if you feel lost, right, what you do, when you get lost, you try to find your bearings, where you are, and where you want to be. So the outline is like a map, right? So the title is basically what you start with, and then the different points are like point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4 are the different waypoints to get you through the whole essay, right? So in the beginning of writing the essay, just make sure the title answers whatever question that your statement, right, you're trying to prove in your first introduction and statement. And then don't worry about the little details for it, but just try to make sure you get the 2, 3, and 4, those 3 points that support your statement, right? Okay, yeah, thank you, then. And so you basically just have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just make those 5 points to help you find your way to wherever you need to do for that essay. So that's my suggestion. Is create yourself, build a map, right? Or itinerary, whatever works for you in terms of analogy. So the outline is a map, right? Or a schedule for you to get to where you need to be. And usually the title is the end point, but it's also the starting point. And that's the beauty, the elegant part about writing if you do it really well. Okay. Thank you for that question. What's next?
Okay, so from
We're not going to answer the Starbucks question. No, it's only a journal or coffee bean. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't mind Starbucks. Starbucks coffee isn't bad. It's only 21,000. All right. So yes, it'll be Starbucks if you win the voucher. I promise that, because I'm not paying. And by the way, it's my boss, Cheetah. All right. What's the next question? We'll do the top 5.
Okay, all right. So it's from Alicia Shala. She's got 22 votes, and the question is, how do you know if what you've written in an essay is useless or redundant? At what point is it rambling?
Right. Yeah. And I'm sorry for repeating the same thing. The outline, right? The outline is sort of like how to check whether you're on point or not, or if you're making sure that you're answering that whatever you're supposed to write in the essay, so that you're not rambling. So the toughest part of an essay is organizing your logic, your thoughts, or whatever you need to prove. So that's what the outline is there for, is just to help make sure that you are hitting those key points, right? And then you're supporting those key points with actual details or examples which are relevant to those key points. And those key points need to be relevant to your key statement, right? So they all work in a daisy chain together. Okay, cool. Next.
Okay, next question is from Mahira Titania. She's got 17 votes. And the question is, how can I improve my word vocabulary and my grammar on writing an essay, resume, etc.?
Right. And this is where it goes back to the reading part, where you read good things, right? And you use that as a benchmark. So first read good stuff, right? Like read good articles, English articles. Be very careful, be very selective of what you read, right? Because time is limited and you want to make sure you're feeding yourself, your brain, the best that you can. And then second, do not translate. And I get on, my members in Wall Street, because the first thing they do, they open Google Translate. And I go, no, you're not helping yourself. You're becoming a better translator. You're not being a better English speaker or a bit English learner. Use a dictionary in English, right? Because that's how you link words. So for example, if I look up the word, let's say, for example, vocabulary, if I look that up in the dictionary and I look at the definition of vocabulary, and there's a word in that definition I don't know, defining vocabulary, then what do? I then look up that word. So then I understand, oh, this is what it means related to vocabulary. And you can just do that. You can just link or just randomly open the dictionary and say, okay, let me learn. If you can learn 10 new words a day and use it, right? Don't just memorize 10 useless words, right? But 10 words that you'll actually use for school or for chatting or for whatever, for content creation, maybe for some of your TikTok videos or anything like that, or IG posts, yeah, use a dictionary, right? Do not use Google Translate, because the problem with Google Translate doesn't know Goe, Lu. That doesn't work in Google Translate, right? And that won't work for English, right? So, that's just some of the things. So feed yourself some good reading, okay? Learn from people that are good communicators, good writers. There's some good Indonesian writers that can write good English. And then read good articles, right? From the internet. There's so much on the internet available now. And then there, just start practicing. And I also suggest people write a journal in English at night before they go to sleep. Maybe write, what they have done the past day in English, and then what do they need to do tomorrow. So it's like a planner, right? It doesn't have to be a diary, but just a journal. And that's actually pretty cool, because 5 years from now, you read your journal in English and you go, oh, wow, I forgot I was so, something like that, right? So dictionary, good reading, dictionary, and write a journal. That's my 3 suggestions. Okay. Anything else? We got 2 more.
All right, 2 more. And before that, I would like to remind all the participants to fill out the registration form that I already sent to the chat box. And yeah, so let's go to the next question. This is from Damar Arya Putra. He got 9 votes. The question is, would you rather be your best at something for yourself or be average at something but for everybody?
Is this a writing question? Well, anyway, I'm just gonna share my opinion about this. And this is cop out basically, but if you can do both, that'd be awesome. If you can find a purpose in yourself that will help others, right? I think that's the best thing that you could do. And it's not easy, trust me. I mean, it wasn't till I came to Indonesia after more than 30 years in America where I realized that one of my main strengths and purposes was teaching. And I shouldn't be surprised, because actually my mother and my grandparents were all teachers back in the Philippines. So you can say it's sort of in my DNA to be a teacher. But yeah, so I found my purpose that I'm really good at and I really enjoy. And I really love making a difference in people's lives, right? Of course, it's nothing like a doctor or a lawyer or like a, firefighter or something like that. But in my own little way, right? I really, really love my job because it's, helping people learn something or become better at something that will help and affect their future or their moment right now, right? So I'm sorry to use a cop out bias. Try to do both. Find that if you can. Find that purpose in yourself that you just, know is what you're meant to be, right? And you just feel really good about, and then how it can help others. And if you do that on a daily basis, you're not working anymore, right? It's your life passion, basically, that you're living. And sorry if I got carried away with that. All right, then how many more do we got? How much time we have? Like 1 or 2 more, right? It's
Yeah.
at 8:30.
Probably like 1 more.
Okay.
Yep. So this question is from Abi. He got 6 votes, and the question is, what books are recommended that a 15 or 16-year-old read habitually to improve their English skills?
Okay, right. So if you go back to my presentation, right? Let me just bring that up real back. Wait. Wait, let me just get out of here. Let me go in here. The reading part. No, this part, right. Oh, wrong view. Okay, right. So this slide, remember? I think that says it for itself. Read for self-improvement, education and success. And then maybe if you're, just need to relax or something, read for entertainment, right? And this has been another observation when I was at London School, and still at Wall Street. Indonesians don't like to read, right? And it's very surprising because if you look at these people here, Americans love to read, right? It's from day one, basically from grade school, high school. It's not just reading because of school and academics, but reading because you use your imagination. It helps with your critical thinking. It helps you become creative. Everyone's creative, right? So the reading part, right? And especially this, I, I don't mind reading for entertainment. I don't see why you can't throw that in. But yeah, read for self-improvement, education, success. And then when you want to just relax, read, the young adult books. There's plenty of, like Hunger Games was a young adult book. Harry Potter is a young adult book. I mean, that's some good writing right there. There's some good stuff right there. It's good content. Right. Don't just read your mobile. Don't read just webtoons is fine and stuff like that, for entertainment, but then read some stuff that can actually help improve who you are, right, and succeed. And there's so much stuff right there nowadays, on the internet, or videos you can find on the internet. Okay, I think that's basically it, right then.
Yep, that's that. So I think I already read all the questions from the top 5 most voted questions, and then our consultant Ernest will reach you out. And yeah, I think that's that for this session. And thank you so much for joining this event in this early morning. And I I hand over to Miss Hasti.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, Miss Andin
Thank you,
and
Miss.
Mr. Alan Santiago for the materials today. It's very, what do you call it? Refreshment, maybe? Okay.
Okay.
Refreshment for me, but I think for the students, they will learn a lot of things today. So why they need to read first before they can be able to write. So I think that will end our session for the Q&A because it's already 8:32. So Miss Rina, if you still have another things to be shared.
No, everything is clear. Just want to remind to the students, don't forget to fill the registration link.
Okay. So I've already reminded them in our group. So I think, is there any like ada increasement ada increase nggak, Miss, for
Yeah,
the
there
students?
is.
Yeah. Okay. The number. Okay. So I think that's all for today from the Wall Street materials. So I guess thank you very much for the Wall Street crew, for
Did
Mr.
we
Alan
have a photo
Santiago,
session,
for the
Miss?
speakers. Yeah. Yes, Miss.
Okay. So, Alan, please stop sharing your screen.
Oh yeah, I'm still sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I stop?
1 minute for photo session.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
stop share. Okay, yeah.
Nah.
Sorry. Oh, we're on YouTube.
So everyone, please photo session, everyone. Yes, we are live on YouTube. So okay, students, please unmute your video so that we are going to have the screenshot, the photo session. Okay. All right, Miss. Can we start the photo? Okay. Or maybe the host will help us, Mr. Alim. Hello, Mr. Alimuddin.
Yes,
Hello,
Miss.
Mr. Alim. Okay, would you mind taking the photo
Sure.
screenshot? All right.
Wait a sec. Oke, Oke semua, dimohon untuk bisa nyalakan kamera lagi on cam karena kita akan berfoto bersama ya. Dalam hitungan ketiga. 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi, seperti kebanggaan kita semua L semua ya, Lab School. Oke?
L.
Saya bingung gimana L-nya. Oke, bersiap. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Oke.
Oke.
Sudah.
Thank
Terima
you,
kasih.
Mr. Alim. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yes,
you,
my
Miss
pleasure.
Lina, Mr. Alan, and all the Wall Street members and crew. Thank you so much for your materials for the academic writing. And then thank you so much too for the IELTS information. So I think that's all for today. And maybe next time or next week, yeah. Okay, next week we are going to continue again our second webinar that will be about public speaking.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I'll end up and thank you very much. And the students will have the class. All right. Thank you, Mr. Alan. Thank you, Miss
Thank you so
Mr.
Lina.
much,
Alan,
Miss
thank you.
Hasti. Thank
Everyone.
you so much, Mr.
Makasih,
Raidil.
Pak.
Thank you.
Yeah,
See you
we are
next
going
week.
to meet
Thank
again
you,
next week.
sir.
Yeah, see
Thank
you
you.
next
Okay.
week.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.